Hello everyone, welcome to Conversations with Sakina. Today we are going to look into a murder that I don't believe was ever really solved. And this is the one with Lizzie Borden. It's an old case. It comes from August of 1892. We know that Lizzie was the one who was the main suspect, the most notorious suspect in the murder of her father and her stepmother. And that part of the reason for this is that she couldn't keep her story straight when questioned about the murder. And also, she just didn't seem to emote anything. So what we're going to do is do a tarot investigation here of this murder. Now we know that the stepmother was killed with an axe upstairs, and the father, Andrew, was downstairs on the couch, and he had laid down, and he was also killed with an axe. They were hurt very badly. It wasn't just one swing of the axe and done. That's where the rhyme comes from of something about giving 40 whacks. And again, Lizzie was the one who was the suspect. Now there was also within the house, there was Bridget, who was the housekeeper, basically. And there was Lizzie, and there was Lizzie's sister, who didn't happen to be home. She happened to be at a seamstress a ways away. And then there was the Uncle John that came to visit and was supposedly across town visiting other people. Now, was there a reason that Lizzie or someone else might actually murder these two people? Supposedly, there was an issue with a relative that their father, Lizzie's father, gave land to that upset Lizzie and her sister. So the father gave them a house, gave them the deed to their deceased mother's home. And when they realized how much work it was to keep it up, they sold it back to their father. And as far as we know, there was really no other issue. That was solved and then taken care of. So I think they were doing very well. The father gave the girls an allowance to spend. He was very generous, and there just didn't seem to be any rhyme or reason as to why these two would be murdered. However, as the old saying goes, you never know what goes on behind closed doors. So we're going to see if we can determine what may have happened and who perhaps was the actual murderer in this Lizzie Borden case by doing a tarot investigation. So let's start out with just letting the cards share with us without a question. So we have the King of Swords. We have the Ace of Cups. We have the High Priestess. We have the Three of Cups. And we have the Three of Pentacles. Okay, I feel like, first of all, that there was a mastermind to this murder. Somebody did some major strategic planning. Really did a lot of thinking about how to go about killing these two people. And I also feel like it was a very emotional decision. Emotions were running high for some reason. There were a lot of secrets in this household that nobody really knew. And there were those who felt like they were literally drowning in the secrets, literally drowning in their emotions. And with the Three of Pentacles, this shows that we had a mastermind, but there was more than one person involved. Now, I do not see a card of passion here, or a fire card, which would be wands. There are no wands here. There are the other elements, cups, swords, and pentacles, which swords is air, cups is water, pentacles is earth. We have no fire. So I don't believe this was a crime of passion. I believe this was there were just too many secrets. And because there's, it's showing secrets here, we may never find out because, we're not back in 1892. We may never know who committed this crime, but we're hoping that the cards will share information that might help us make an educated guess. Okay, so we had a mastermind. Let us play a kind of whodunit game here for a minute, see what we can come up with. So can the cards tell us if the mastermind was a man or a woman? So we have the we have the Empress. We have the Wheel of Fortune, the Four of Swords, Two of Pentacles, and the Devil. Okay, I'm going to say that it was definitely a woman who came up with the idea, okay, who was the creative one, who perhaps rallied the forces, so to speak. Empress is often depicted as the mother figure. So could it possibly have been Lizzie's older sister? Or Bridget, who was the housekeeper and probably older than the girls, not sure on that one. So there are 3 women involved in this. Lizzie, her older sister, and Bridget, the housekeeper. But this plan was put together, and it was definitely going to change a lot. Change a lot of things within the household. And someone that was involved in this planning was certainly having a bit of difficulty with the planning of it. It was kind of like a thing of nightmares, feeling like they were being pulled under the bed. But they also felt like this was the right thing to do. This is what was going to make them feel secure and what was going to make them feel safe, and that it would rid them of the monsters under the bed. And I really think that it started out with one person, the idea, just one person. And then it became 2. She shared with someone. It became 2. And then more, obviously. With perhaps the classic line of "the devil made me do it." Maybe that's what they thought that their defense would be if they were ever suspected. So a woman came up with the idea, the way that it looks. And again, with 3 women in the house, again, we're guessing here as to who may have been, other than the fact, again, that, it shows Empress as a mother figure. This could have been the older sister, and it could have been Bridget. Lizzie was the youngest, but that still does not rule her out because, again, it was, a group effort, so to speak, is what we're getting with the cards here. So let's ask this. Was John, the uncle, a part of this group of planners? We have the World. We have the 8 of Pentacles, 7 of Swords, 10 of Wands, and the 9 of Swords. Okay, as a guess here, I don't see any men in these cards. However, I do see a woman with a key standing at the door, or it looks like she's standing at the door, and this is the World card. So I feel like one of these girls, gave a key to John, the uncle, and that they actually practiced this somehow, in some way, in private. Whoever these people are that actually committed the murder, it looks like they practiced, because practice makes perfect. And to anyone that may have seen what they were doing, it wasn't at all. They made sure that it didn't look like what it was going to be. And it doesn't look like for at least one of them, maybe more than one of them, it looks like it wasn't an easy thing to do, wasn't an easy thing to consider. And I think it even caused some nightmares before and after. Causing this kind of destruction, taking someone else's life or more than one someone else's life, obviously that's going to take its toll. It looks good at the start before any action is ever taken. So I want to know from the cards, what was it that caused these people, and I'm going to assume here that it is Lizzie, her sister, Bridget, and John, all four working together, perhaps. What caused them to want to kill the father and the stepmother? 19, the Sun, the Fool, Knight of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, and the Tower. I feel like this is saying that from the outside, everything looked perfect. Everything literally looked perfect. And there was nobody from the outside would ever imagine that there was anything going on. But in fact, those within the house really wanted to get away. There was something terrifying in that house. Or at least that is the story. That's maybe what they wanted people to think after the fact. Or, again, looking at this differently, this was to experience something exciting, something new, to have a new adventure. Because when you're wealthy or, have everything that you need, perhaps life gets a little bit boring. So, you're going to want to try new things, and your quest may be for more and more and more. And that's kind of what these two cards are showing, is that these people wanted all of it. They didn't want to share it with apparently the dad and the stepmom. They wanted all of it. They wanted all the material riches. So they did the deed with the Tower card. Everything came tumbling down. So we're going to let the cards speak again without expressing a question here. We have the Six of Cups. We have the Star. The Six of Pentacles. The Magician. And the Three of Wands. Okay, I feel like this is showing us with the Six of Cups. This is the older sister, and I'm sorry, I cannot remember her name. This is the older sister. Apparently there was a younger sister, younger I think than Lizzie, who passed away before their mother passed away. But the older sister did remember her mother, whereas Lizzie did not. Lizzie called the stepmother mother, and the older sister called her Mrs. Borden. Never called her mother or anything like that. So I'm thinking that this is the sister. And I'm feeling as though she was the one who was guided, because she felt like she could never get enough, that there wasn't a fair exchange in this house for money, that she could never get as much as she wanted because the mother-in-law, or excuse me, the stepmother was there, and she would get some of it. She didn't mind sharing, I don't think, with Lizzie, but I think she did mind the fact that she had to share with the stepmother. And I think she played a good part. She was, played the magician. She never looked guilty, ever. I don't think they ever suspected her because supposedly she went away that day. But here again, we're looking at the Three of Wands. I believe there were 3 of them. So again, it could have been John and the 2 girls, Lizzie and her sister, or it could have been Lizzie, her sister, and Bridget, the housekeeper. The mastermind that we asked about, I believe, was the older sister, because she would have been the mother, kind of like the mother figure for Lizzie before the father remarried. And I think also with Magician card, it's showing that, it wasn't a lot of effort. They had everything that they needed without having to worry about having to go buy special things or anything like that. They could do what they needed to do with what they had on the premises. And the last thing that I want to ask is, Lizzie was the only one who was suspected of murdering her parents. Was this by design? Was this part of the plan? Which is maybe why Lizzie kind of messed with her stories and had no emotion, just appearing very, very strange. Was this something that was agreed upon with the 3 of them? Or still possibly 4. John may still have been a part of it. So let's see what the cards say about that. The Ace of Pentacles, 7 of Cups, Ace of Wands, Knight of Cups, and the King of Cups. So, was it by design that Lizzie was the one who was suspected of the murder? I think any of them could have been suspected. The potential for that was there. And I think that they talked about it, and they actually made their choice based on emotion. And I'll explain that in a moment. They obviously knew that any one of them could be under fire. The potential for that was huge also. But I think how they chose is by determining which one had the most control over their emotions. And I think they practiced. They actually practiced controlling their emotions. And I do believe that Lizzie was the best at it. She's the King of Cups. She had total control over her emotion. And I don't think it took all that much practice for her. But she had total control of her emotions, so it ended up that she was the choice. And I'm pretty sure she probably figured that, they wouldn't be able to convict her because they wouldn't have enough proof or enough evidence, which she was completely right, because she was acquitted. And no one was ever charged, as far as I know. No one was ever charged with the murder of these 2 people. It still remains unsolved. So I do believe that the cards shared quite a bit here. Can we prove any of this? Probably not. Does it make sense? I think it does. So if you have anything you would like to share, please share in the comments concerning this cold case. And also, if you see anything in the cards that I didn't see or something that you would like to add, feel free again to share in the comments. But that is what I have right now for Lizzie Borden and that mystery. We might revisit it again in the future. If there are questions perhaps that you would like to put in the comments that you would have liked me to ask, perhaps we will revisit again. But for now, that is what we have. So until next time, take care.